I met my first son when he was 1.5 years old, and for some reason I thought it would be a natural dad and totally find my rhythm and be all the man that this boy needed in a father figure right from the start, but that didn't happen at all. I just really needed some help in figuring out this fathering thing. Even though we were reading books and stuff, we didn't feel like we were informed on how this parenting thing works, or that's what I felt like. I think the new American dream is to manifest a person's heart's desires instead of somebody else's heart's desires, which was the old American dream in my mind, the white picket fence. I prefer no fence.
I think we're definitely not alone in this deep yearning to know that there must be some other way to do this.
I think if I can understand more about the ways different families operate, I can pick and choose a style that might work better for us.
This metaphor came, which was seeing us as a family, that we're treading water and struggling to stay afloat. And the waves are bashing us and we're just struggling. And then at some point we either got exhausted or just decided we don't want to do that anymore. So we let go, or you could say surrendered. And we thought we were going to die and drown, and that life was over as we knew it. And in a way it was. Life as we knew it was over, and that was a good thing. But it felt really scary, and there was a lot of struggling against that process of surrendering and dying. And then at some point we opened our eyes, and not only were we not dead, we could see this whole world under the water and swim in it and be in it. And then now, where we are now, is, I say, tapped in to something that before we couldn't even access because we were afraid to surrender.
And right now, the thing I want the most is to feel completely alive and tapped into who I really am while I'm being a mom. And part of me feels like maybe that's not possible. And then I feel myself kind of numbing out to that and everything around me.
we
We made it our mission to find out how other families handle the hard parts of parenting. We wanted to know how it might be possible to follow our callings in life, even in the thick of parenting. And how might we encourage our children with their interests as they begin to explore the world?
So we, as a family with our 2 kids, drove to 26 states while I was 8 months pregnant. And it was either we knew it was going to make or break us. Either we would come together as a family or we would know this is really not going to work out. And it brought us together in a way that was more extraordinary than I could have imagined.
We recorded the stories of 40 families, holding in-depth interviews and joining them on adventures outdoors, documenting them in their natural elements. We wanted the raw truth told on the fly by all types of people. We wanted the real story, unrehearsed, untamed. We learned we were not alone in feeling unprepared for parenting, where there's chaos and worries and animals roaring out of us, all of us. We learned how to handle life as a wild family, and a wild family learns through experiences, breaking free from the status quo to follow natural instincts, relying on a combination of inner guidance, interconnection, and community support. A wild family grows together, blossoming, being free. This is the story of a family that was falling apart, and the journey that kept us close. Our questions about handling the hard parts of parenting drove us out of our comfort zones on a film tour across the country, learning about life with kids. We lived on the road and in the homes of strangers. We met mysterious forces that led us to people and places with messages made for us. We made changes. And when we returned to our home, we were a different family, a wild family, with a story of our own. This is our story.
I like to talk about when everything starts, when you decide to have a child. That's when it really starts. It's like, okay, what are we imagining for our child? How are we going to raise our child? That kind of thing, because that's when it really starts. And then there's, conception and birth, and every step is really important.
Yeah.
But that very first thought, like, what's my child going to be like? How am I going to raise my child? That's the most important thing. And it's that way with anything, and everything starts with a thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what is conception? Conception is the original seed, the original creation that happens. And that happens first, before it happens physically, it happens in our imagination. It comes from a desire for a certain experience. And then the desire takes form first in our imagination. And for me, it looked like conscious community, really nurturing land where the men and women and children who live there are stewarding nature. Like there's a relationship there. There's a loving relationship there where they're not just living on this place and the place is just passive. There's a nurturing going on that goes both ways. It's actually symbiotic. Like the people love nature in a certain way and care for it in a way that nature wants to be cared for. And then we can co-create with nature. We can co-create with the divine mind. And then the land loves us. And then we have forest gardens and clean water. Yeah.
I love the mountains, and I love to hike and fish and climb mountains. And then I got into horses, and I loved horses in the mountains. And it never even crossed my mind that I would stop doing that. And so we integrated that activity into our family when we had kids. We didn't stop doing it. 15 miles in a rocky trail up 10,000 feet with a baby, we did it. It's a family adventure. Getting out of the house and going out and to see creation, to appreciate that there's a creator I think it makes a well-rounded person. There is kind of a point, and every parent has to figure it out. How do you get across the teachings of life, what's right and what's wrong, and what's good and what's true? You want to instill those teachings into them. It gives them a compass. Because most kids will leave their parents' teachings and their community, and they'll go out on their own, and they may get in trouble, spiritually and physically in all kinds of ways. But if they have something to come back to, what I'd call a foundation, if they have that and taught that, they might come back to it. It's like an anchor, So, at an early age, if you want to teach your kids whatever you want to teach them, I'd start now, when they're 5, when they're 3, when they're 2. And they'll absorb a lot by the time they're 11. It's amazing. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize the importance of that until later.
Well, I mean, the only thing I guess I would say is it's sort of funny, right? When you're pregnant at first, you start reading all these books all the time, and you don't read any with the second. You think you know everything. And
or you don't have time.
But it's a similar, analogy to as they get older, you stop. Well, I don't know. Maybe other parents are better than I am, but you stop reading things and you trust. You just begin to trust your instincts more. And I think that's, ultimately what you find. Attachment parenting and any particular parenting technique only makes sense if it sort of follows along with what you would instinctually want to do anyway.
And I think that one of the things through, a lot of trial and error and some struggle, was just finally kind of accepting that we really just need to parent in a way that feels right and feels good.
I feel like they've taught us a lot about, I think part of being a good parent is just not trying to turn them into me, not trying to base every decision on what my experience was. And maybe there's so much transition happening right now. They're really more capable of, knowing what they need to do to get where they're going,
A lot of it is them teaching us, and if we're open to listening, to giving them what they need. And so I think that if you box yourself into a certain philosophy, you read an author and you're like, oh, I'm going to follow this method of parenting, you might not necessarily be listening to your child. Each child is different. Each child has a different personality, and so we do things differently with our son than we do with our daughter. And then with our youngest, I'm sure we'll do differently with him as well, They each are their own person.
There's no replicating a snuggle, like the feeling of these little hands around you. And I think it gives me compassion because we all came that way. We all started our lives as these open-hearted, connected beings, and to have the gift of seeing that, I'm an older mom, and I think it gives me perspective of how fast it goes and what a gift it is to be present to one another's journey from the very beginning, even when they're inside you, that connection.
It was almost it's overwhelming to think that with regard to adoption, you have somebody who has the insight to put the needs of this child ahead of their own, knowing that they may not be able to provide, whether it's emotionally, financially, day-to-day living, whatever it may be. And literally, we were gifted our child. Talk about ultimate selflessness. His birth mother is an incredible human being. The fact that she saw that there might be a way for him to have a better life than maybe she could provide. I just feel like we have an even higher responsibility of making sure that he has a great life. Having opportunities, being surrounded by people that love him, knowing that he is safe, knowing that he gets to be who he truly is.
Regardless of what he wants to do in life, who he wants to be around, and, as long as he's happy with those decisions, is all that's important.
most powerful thing in the world is a child that knows their value, their worth. I tell my daughter, you are as important or more in this school than the teachers. They are here for you. It's not the other way around. Don't feel afraid of being a child. Being a child is something good. It's not bad. It's beautiful. You're learning. You have a voice. I believe that because children don't have all the information that we have about what's right and wrong, they have this ability, natural ability, to come up with solutions with full courage, no inhibitions, because they don't have the experience of the negative aspect. They will learn, you know? So I think it's important to always ask them, what do you think? How does that make you feel? You know, information, and then they decide, and they remember, because children are incredibly smart, of course, very connected to God. If you tell a child where everything is, he won't make an effort to look for it. But if you want them to be strong, healthy, independent, smart, the owners of their own actions, we have to give them some freedom. I have this story that I like to tell. We were in the White Sands and the sun came down and it was pitch black. We were in the middle of it, and I started like heading one direction, and my daughter, and she was 6 or 7 years old, she said, "No, Mom, no, no," screamed, and she sat down and she said, "I'm sure it's not that direction, and I'm not going in that direction, and I'm not moving." She was so confident that I knelt down and I said, "Okay, sweetie, which direction do you think it is?" And she said, "It's that direction, Mom." And there was a tiny light. She saved our lives.
Parenting, I don't think it's got anything to do with intellect or wealth. It's totally got to do with heart. I don't know if any of us are going to be perfect parents. No. And that's why love is so important.
Yeah.
Because love is pretty much the key, I think. No matter what handbook. Whether their parents are rich or poor or highly intelligent or kind of stupid, dumb. It doesn't matter. The love is the important thing. Yeah. And also, I think one thing that I realize now that our son has grown and he's such an awesome guy, time is a trip, because like before you know it, they're grown up. And it's like you realize, wow, that was like the most wonderful, that gave my life, that was the most wonderful experience. That's why I came here. Like there's nothing greater than that. And so the treasure that you have with your children is richer than all the riches in the world. And it's beyond intelligence. It's heart, it's soul, it's so important. So it's the most important thing in life.
Navigating parenthood is artful, and I definitely don't feel like I'm on top of it. But to make it work, it's you have to push some buttons sometimes, you know, and I mean, he pushes my buttons and I push his buttons, and then still kind of both feel like you're getting out on top at the end of it. So I've also realized that you've got to sort of I've got to make myself clear to him the whole time. So it is this constant conversation and just being there and being able to listen. And then sometimes sort of just being able to, can you hold that thought? I've got to kind of carry on here and do what I'm doing. I've struggled to kind of claim my space and grab it, because he is the most important thing. But our children also move off, and this is part of, you know, growing him and growing a career at the same time. You can't ever invite all those different magical moments into your life if you don't expose yourself to a little bit of rough terrain. So, and you can't imagine what's out there unless you take yourself on the journey.
You can't be elected president when you're 8, so camper of the week's a really big deal. And like, I'm vicariously super thrilled when he's happy. I think the biggest thing for parents is just to be receptive to what your kids tell you, and don't think that what they're telling you is a small thing. If they choose to come to you with something, listen to them, value what they have to say, show them the right path to how to get along in the world. I think we both took to parenting really naturally. I think the biggest challenge has been becoming economically sustainable with that in mind, you know, because we both would rather just be parents all day. So finding a way to make money was the tricky part for us, for sure, and especially in ways that didn't make us depressed or hostile when we were at home. I was lucky because Sarah supported me and let me start doing what I like to do and use my energy really positively in what I do and make a living at it. So that's, I don't know what more you can ask for. I was fortunate that worked out, and so now I can return the favor and hope that she gets to do the same too.
I think Joseph Campbell said your sacred space is where you go again and again to find yourself. And I think that's what I'm trying to describe. It's like this level of connection that we're able to have as a family that is most likely to happen outside when we don't have like a schedule. So we're biking somewhere or we're coming to the playground. So I also use very much leverage the outdoors and where we live as a way to keep me present when it's most challenging for me to be that way. I'm fascinated by the concept of flow, and they say one of the things required to be in the flow is deep embodiment and high consequence. And I think play and outdoors, I mean, that's where we're going to find that, you know. So that's like a real gift to me, to be at this point where they're willing to go hiking at an early hour, and then just what happens without any effort. Jeez, I don't know. I've had some of my best conversations with these boys on the trail. They'll even get up at sunrise with me a couple times, and we'll chase the sun. We call it chasing the sun. We try to get to a certain point to enjoy the sunrise. There's just conversations that come up organically that I can't imagine would come up in the house, you know.
The river is long, the river is wide, the river she slows, the river she drives, there's a river inside every heart, the river is where I'll abide. No rocks in.
Do you want to go jump on Mom's bed? Let's not do that.
I want to.
Do you want to
Go ride
play
the tractor.
sandbox?
No.
Go build a sandcastle.
No.
We are stuck with the kids all the time. And when we have an opportunity for them to go somewhere, we jump all over it, whether it be for the night or for the day or something. And we are so excited for it. And when that day comes and they're gone, by about 7 o'clock at night, we're going, I wish our kids were here. And we lose track of being in this moment to where half the time we don't remember how they were when they were 6 months old and stuff like that. So trying to just be here for now, appreciate that. Soren's not going to be this age forever, you know, Ryerson's.
I know, and he's not going to want to sit on my lap forever.
I think being a parent is a blast. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Ryerson found pet worms last time we were camping, and I think it entertained him for probably 4 hours. We didn't have to do anything.
Just my mother always says to me, whenever she sees pictures or videos or just with me, she just says, your smile is the biggest when you're out in nature. That is one thing I will absolutely push to my kids, to get out. And luckily, we don't have to. Most of the time, we have to drag them inside.
Yeah.
It is where it all began.
So when I think of my soul, I think like my soul came to this earth for a reason, with a purpose. My job is to help her achieve that purpose or that mission. And for my kids, I'm very, very, very conscious about it. I'm constantly watching them and thinking about in those terms. Family comes first, but our souls are more important than all these birthday parties and all these soccer practices and all these swim meets. So now, instead of doing so many things, I do less, but I savor more. All the friends and all the invitations that didn't speak to my soul had to go. And when we realized that, now we have all this free time. And if you have all this free time, there's free time to be with the family, to cook the meals and to clean the house. And there is enough time to create and to have conversations and to read. There's time for everything.
You know, what was important to me in the past, for example, umpiring softball, has become a low level of priority, and I don't miss it. But the other things where you have that spare time, you realize this is really important to me and I want to make this a priority. So I think that your passions come out more when you're a parent, because you really have to take advantage of that time you have. And I'm okay getting rid of certain priorities. That's okay, because I still have passions in life and they're still alive.
I hope we're able to have the self-control to, if Uriah 17 says, I don't want to go to college, I want to go live in Alaska on a crab boat. Well, okay, you know, go give it a whirl, you know. Paisley wants to join the circus. Go give it a whirl. Well, you know, I mean, and be there to support them through success and failure.
And I think as parents, it's so much easier to just get into that bigger routine and, you know, put the pressure on yourself to just make an income. But life's so much more than that. You know, you get to the end and wonder, did I do anything impactful to this world, or did I leave a legacy for my children? You know, what example did I set for my children?
good times together as a family, I'd say. Like, we like to go on hikes, and we went on a hike the other day, and we were by the sea, and we saw an osprey in its nest, and we heard the babies, and we were having lots of fun. I was really grouchy going to the hike. I didn't want to go to the hike, but then I was really happy afterwards, and we have really great family time.
We share a value, Joe and I do, of wanting to create within our family the kind of love that has us all wanting to spend time together. And we have had to consciously make time to spend time together as a family.
Being in a family can be hard at times because it's a conflicting set of personalities, all wanting different things, understanding that we each have our little journey to take, but we're here together for a reason, to learn from one another.
We're going to make mistakes, and we're sorry. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I sometimes have to go away and jump up and down and scream, or write in my journal, or go for a walk, and then come back and say, okay, I know that didn't work for you, and I apologize for the way that I reacted, and here's how I was feeling, and I really want you to tell me how you were feeling.
So-and-so has a tablet.
So-and-so has a pool.
Yeah.
I want a pool. Mom, can we get a pool? Mom, can we get a pool? Mom, I want a cell phone. Mom, I want a cell phone. Mom, I want a cell phone.
Mom, we need a Lexus. So in April, my sister's house burned down, and it changed my perspective on our priorities. And both of us are just kind of just awakening to this reality that we do not have to do things the way everyone else does things. That's been a really beautiful realization because we have all this freedom now to just do things the way we want to and make up our own rules.
And that's what things supposed to feel like, instead of like forcing things or doing things without wanting to do it. So it's more like just following your instinct and just...
We all want to be authentic people. We're very consciously living our lives. So we have things that we want to do for ourselves and we want to actualize, you know? And of course, having children, you know, you're actualizing yourself through your parenting. I mean, that's, you know, it's a huge part of that process of who you are as an authentic person. I'm a parent and I need to follow that role fully. But it also is always a struggle to put other people in front of you, even your own children, all the time. And I definitely think we both struggle with that, where we both have things about ourselves that we want to work on. You know, in my own experience and feeling it myself, it's like that wells up. It's like, wow, I'm really frustrated because I can't do what I want to do now. So it's more just about being in the present moment, accepting where it's at, and trying to work your interests into their lives in a way that makes sense, you know?
Right. And as they're getting older, it's delightful because it's more and more possible. Yeah. They have more interest in what we have to talk about.
They want to see what's going on. What's going on?
And so, yeah, I'm really encouraged because I see as they gain their independence and understand that we're all separate people with things that we want to do and want to make time for. But still, I've definitely let a lot of things go. I haven't played much violin, but I'm really not worried about it. And when I get to play, it's wonderful. I really enjoy it, and
parenting philosophy. Try to just treat my kids like another human being. I don't think they're below us. I don't think that they're the center of, my world and they run the family, but that's just what we are. We're a family. So nobody's above, nobody's below. We're just happy to be together and live life together, and we learn from each other. And I guess when it comes to guiding them in the right direction, drawing a clear line and being consistent with that line really goes a long way, because my stress level fluctuates, my mood fluctuates, but I always try to make sure from one day to the next or one mood to the next that there's that clear line and they know right from wrong. Yeah, I guess with anything they do, especially if it affects somebody else negatively, we just try to explain to them, how would you feel if somebody did that to you? So that they understand the importance of the way they treat the people around them.
They're great with reasoning. The other morning, Maddie had a soccer practice and didn't want to eat his breakfast. And so she had to explain to him how he was going to have a bellyache and how he wouldn't have the energy for soccer and, the repercussions of not eating your breakfast. So.
And then he decided he wanted to eat. So obviously he wants to be a soccer star.
He didn't want to have low energy. He wanted to be able to play.
When you treat your children like they're the center of your universe, and then you have to teach them not to be self-centered, it's more challenging, I think. Whereas if there's this sense of the collective to start with, that you need to respect everybody in the family, you need to respect your siblings and your parents and yourself. That's a value that's a more grounded value, and not just don't hit so-and-so,
So much of what I see today is little princes and princesses feeling like they are the center of the universe. That's not how you raise a community. And it's really important for children to realize that they have a role in it, and it's not necessarily to feed themselves, because that's how you beget greed and self-centeredness. And so this whole notion of being a part of a bigger community, it starts with your nuclear family and it moves out into your friend group, then your community group, and then beyond. And you have to start with that notion of you're safe here, but now you need to think beyond this little horizon, and there's a bigger one beyond it.
I know that they're definitely out there, but I feel like I've just never met a little one that's so happy just all the time. It makes you happy. Yeah, he'll put his little foot out there and do it to the music. It's cute.
I think even if we're dancing, he'll hit me to the beat. I don't know the beat. It's awesome.
People got to live up, people got to be free. But you not see unrighteousness, once upon a time a man told me, yes he did, things are gonna return to where they were again. And I said to him, do you think it is true? He said to me, yes, I know it's true. Because I have a drink love from the fountain, when I'm even up in the mountain. I have a drink life from the fountain, when I'm waking up in the mountain. I have a drinker from the fountain, when I'm looking in the mountain. Yeah, what? Love from the mountain, and when I live in up, live up, yeah. You wouldn't have fun though. Live up, yeah. I have a drinker from the fountain, when I'm looking in the mountain. I have a drinker from the fountain. How can you play together and watch TV at the same time, silly?
We could fight, or we could run around, or go to a different space where the movie isn't there.
We had an experience this summer of Daniel forgetting his shoes. We had camped in the this is in the Catskill Mountains. We'd driven about 4 hours away from our campsite, and we're getting out of the car to go to the bathroom, and he says, "Where are my shoes?"
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And, looking around.
Oh my gosh.
And then we realized, oh, he took them off and put his feet into the river. And I just kept saying, "Honey, we're not going to go back. I'm sorry. You left your shoes. It's okay. We left your shoes." And then the entire 2 weeks or whatever that we've been on the road just came erupting out of him. And I found myself going back and forth because he's in the parking lot in front of this convenience store in New York State, flipping out, throwing his body on the ground, screaming, "I'm gonna die if I don't have my shoes."
Imagine you've lived this life where you've seen some things, but all of a sudden you're in a car and you're seeing different, and you're excited and you want to make sense of it all, and then the circuits just, and then you're on the convenience store floor, bathroom, melting down and screaming that your mother's gonna hurt you, and people are looking at you like, do we need to call the cops? Like, nobody knows how to handle that in our culture yet. We don't have solutions, we just get through that. The work is over here when we're working on connection and love and joy and figuring out how to be more playful and maneuvering them in ways. But once the bomb of the reptile brain is going off, you don't have a lot of options, because the minute you start trying to do something, you're gonna slip and be less present also. If you step back and get the 10,000-foot view, getting upset about somebody who's upset because they can't control themselves in that moment, we have to make a shift, because that's not helping that person. And that's the goal, is that we help them so they can help themselves, and then ultimately you're helping each other. And what else is there but to experience as much love as you possibly can? And that doesn't always come with just ease. That can come with some tragedy, and that can come with some struggles, and that can come with lots of births, lots of rewirings, lots of trying to get more of you out. And that's it. That's, to me, the juice of life, is the moments where, whether it's through something wonderful or something really intense, you just rip, the heart just goes either open or smithereens, but that opens to something else, and it's just, that's all it is just opening, and more love pours out.
Nobody wants you to die. Why do you say you're gonna die? You still have lots of other pairs of shoes.
In the beginning, we were wild. We were as wild as wolves, relying on instincts to survive cold nights with the warmth of community. We were as wild as hummingbirds, colorful, joyful, and playful. We were as wild as buffaloes, enduring pain with strength and spirit. We were born from an origin point of love, wild, with the natural ability to expand with purpose. And expansion continues in every cell automatically, with or without our influence. The same is true in dandelions spreading seeds and blueberry bushes bearing fruit. Our children are as wild as evergreen trees, reaching for the sky, knowing how to grow with or without our control. A wild child, like a wild plant or animal, resists control because a wild child is born with a desire to expand. A wild child has a tendency to fight for freedom, like a vine climbing, like a rodeo bronco bucking a rider. When given the freedom to flourish, flora and fauna thrive. Wildflowers bloom on their own. Wild horses walk on the day they are born. Driven by the love that created them, the wild ones find new ways of experiencing love, all the while expanding. Guided by the guide inside, the wild ones grow, going forward in good conscience, heart first, with force. We are destined to spread the love in us like ripples, like rays of light. And when we do, we radiate. We radiate. We radiate.
You know, there's the human body baby that arrives, who's physically not equipped and neurologically not wired to do all the things yet. But there's also a being who on some level knows they're having this experience. And then there's the all that's saying, well, let's play in this realm. Ooh, let's give you to these people and see what happens when that, you know, I'm gonna go experience life in Austin, Texas in 2015. The navigation system, that's implicit. I don't ever think that somebody doesn't have it. It might be cloudy. The sun might not always be shining through because of a lot of noise that person took on from their environment about who they are and what life is. But ultimately, that's accessible always. And it's really just stopping and getting present and letting that beingness shine and come out. We all know, and we're just here to journey together, and the people you get are your co-travelers, and they're going to teach you as much, if not more, than you're teaching them. And it's a practice of building your faith and building your presence. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that's going to pull you to the moment like being with small humans that are growing. It's miraculous and not for the faint of heart.
For me, we are all teachers and we are all students all at the same time. And when we have children, we are given our children for a brief period of time to guide them to be the best, most vastly open aspects of who they are. When they are born, they are in their whole state. And it doesn't shift until we start implementing our own belief systems. And so my whole concept of what I do with my children and what I encourage others to do with theirs is to listen and realize that they are eternal beings. They are every bit the spirit that I am, that you are, that we are. And that they come more open and aware of our spiritual surroundings. Because my whole world is spirit first, and then the physical. And so I teach them that. And they teach me that. And when my child comes and I can tell what maybe one of their life lessons is or what they've chosen to learn in this life, and it's not mine, and I let them learn that. I don't say that, well, this is right, this is wrong, because then it's putting it through my personal filters. The things that I came to learn are going to be different than what they came to learn. And it's important for all of us to hold strong to that concept. Because I feel a lot of the time our spirit is so vast and wants to grow. These children want to be big. You know, when I give them all the respect and I look at them like they're my teacher, they feel that. And all of a sudden something shifts, and it's not I'm here and you're here and I'm the adult and you're the child. It's not that. We're on an even playing field, and I learn as much from them as they do from me. And that it's this harmony, and all of a sudden you have this back and forth flow that is the flow that should be right with everything. And the minute you bring that kind of respect and integrity, things get better.
I actively try to be the best version of myself when I'm in front of my daughters. How they see me interact in my marriage is gonna determine what is normal for them when they decide to get married. And so if they see me treat my wife great and show her love and show her tons of respect, that will then become what's normal for them. And so it's also really important for me to just be a good husband as well. So having kids, it's got this weird effect where, since I want their normal to be a nice, positive, loving environment, that to create that nice, positive, loving environment, I have to internalize those values myself. And, I mean, it's corny to say, but becoming a parent has made me a better person.
We just, want to give her time and patience and time to reflect and time to embrace and look at everything. I think Willow moves at a different pace than us. Most kids race around and to try to get from A to B, to pack it all in and run. Willow's been put on this earth to slow us down. She's taught me how to slow down. When we go rock climbing, she doesn't just, her goal is not to get to the top. And always my goal is to get to the top and do it with, some grace and not fall or not hang at all. Her goal with rock climbing is, what can I see on the way to the top? And so she'll Mom, look at this flower. I think I see a fossil in here, Mom. Ooh, look at this cute little rock. And she'll look at it for a little while, and then she'll put it back. and she's like, can I pick this flower for you? I'm like, no, let's leave it for the next climber, but she'll just sit, and her goal is just to see what she can embrace on the climb.
Loving our children, loving our parents, loving our society, loving ourselves, loving our future, it all comes from how deep and well we love our earth. So every day hiking, climbing, will create a body that is healthy physically and also emotionally and intellectually. We have many beautiful ideas when we are in nature. So that is a complement for success for children in their lives, being in nature is meditation, is training, is health. This is the school that is going to give the big answers that we need for the big solutions.
You know, I think it's important for children to be stewards and be able to take care of our environment and protect it and realize what a treasure it is. You know, we go tube the river, and Max can float down the river now with me, and Molly's still at the stage where she's kind of along for the ride. She's on my back wherever we go. Or, you know, it's all that balance of getting your time in for your own peace of mind, and then balancing that with your children's needs. I guess being a wild family, I would think of it as, you know, taking in all the knowledge, all the teaching you've had about children and development, but then mapping your own route with it, doing your own thing, and then, you know, you take that knowledge into consideration, but it's not set in stone, and you still do what you need to do, and you just incorporate those things and try and maintain the lifestyle that you want to live with your children.
When they were growing up, they had foster brothers and sisters that lived with us. We've had exchange students that lived with us and at different times, and so I think that that's maybe opened their eyes, or maybe have them have a giving spirit too, of just being able to care for people. It doesn't really matter where that person comes from, whether they're rich or poor, or you know, where their status in life is. That's I don't know, we're family, but we also adopt family, kind of like how, you know, God adopts us. We're adopted children. So both Zach and I modeled our parenting style after our own parents, you know. Being firm, but yet being fair about it and stuff.
Loving.
And so,
And I think another big thing is they showed love to each other, and they were always on the same page. So you couldn't say, well, Dad said this, I'm going to go ask Mom. Like, we knew that whatever it was, they were together.
Right, they didn't undermine each other, or one say, oh, your dad's being mean, I'll be the nice parent. And yeah, they were consistent and parented together.
It's like a team effort, you know. There were times when Sylvie would say something and I might not agree with it. As a team, you know, I would go on her side or take the same attitude. I think she did the same thing. I know there's many times she didn't agree with what I might say or do, but at the time she just knew that there wasn't a better way to do it.
When it came to parenting, but when it came to like us having a difference of opinion, I always felt it was important that we argue in front of the kids, show them how you resolve a conflict or disagreement, and how you make a compromise.
Yeah. She's been my best friend for 38 years. I mean, that's just the way it is.
They were invested in, you know, us pursuing knowledge and trying to understand our world better. I think each of us have found a way to work hard within the things that do make us passionate, you know. And with me, it's writing, and I think Brian finds his in sort of exploring and finding out about himself and his world.
They each are able to pursue, you know, what their passion is. Everyone can do what it is that makes them happy. And
Can I go see all those kids?
Yes, you can.
My only passion was to have a nice home that I could work on and put myself into. And now that we have a nice home to work on, I can't work on it.
You will be able to though, honey, and you do. Yeah. It's a lot more slow and fits and starts than you would want.
With two very small children, there's no time to work on it. So it seems like it's stagnating and there's nothing happening, you know. We're there, it's comfortable enough, but it's not comfortable enough. And there's no time to do it. I was always a fatalist when I was younger. I never wanted children because I thought the world was going to hell really fast. And it seems
Still
to be.
do that.
And now we're parents, so I don't really know. It's like you can't really dwell on those thoughts now that you're a parent. You just can't, you know. You have to have some hope or not even think about it at all, you know. We have children now. And so you have to be hopeful for them, you know.
We're trying to film over here. You're being very loud.
Yeah, I know.
Will you not do that, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You know, I mean, there's just a great example. She's doing something that I don't like, and I don't treat her like a child. I treat her like an individual. Hey, Kiki, you said you weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
So why are you doing it?
I need to make noise.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, then go make it somewhere else so I can talk.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We can have a very civil conversation. We can have a very reasonable conversation. I don't have to treat her like a child. I don't have to get angry either. See, getting upset doesn't help. It doesn't solve anything. In fact, if I get upset, it's not her fault, it's my fault, right? I mean, if I'm getting upset because of an action of a 2-year-old child, I've got some major work to do.
The children are supported to be whatever they choose to be, however they choose to be. They're supported to be like empowered and, you know, have a life that's self-designed and that is self-led. I myself do sometimes get upset at the actions of a 2-year-old. But that just really does show me where I'm at, and I do have a lot of glitches. I don't have to let those glitches interfere with my ability to be clear and present and calm and receptive and responsive to the children's needs.
Mushrooms here, these are wild mushrooms, and they're some of Kiki and Noki's favorite foods. They have a lot of fun harvesting them. They know how to harvest them properly. You only want to harvest them once they've really flattened out. So she's picking the ones that are flattened out. You want the gills to be opened up on the bottom. You want to break off the root system, and then you also want to tap. You want to tap the top to release some spores so that they reproduce themselves, they remultiply. So as she's picking them, she's tapping the tops, she's pulling off the bottoms, and she's putting them in the basket.
Yes.
Oh yeah, all our feet in the basket. All our feet in the mushroom basket. All our feet in the mushroom basket.
Instead of trying to put them in the box, right, of society or of school or of church or whatever that is, instead of trying to teach them, instead of trying to discipline them, instead of trying to condition them into living the way we're living, which obviously is dysfunctional, we could actually support them and nurture them and look to them as the example. See, there's this huge paradigm shift that needs to take place from adults being the leaders and being the ones that are dictating to actually adults surrendering and looking to the children for that guidance, for the new possibility, for the leading edge of how inspired, how sweet, how delicious, how connected, how raw, how beautiful life can really be. And when we begin to do that, when we begin to truly honor that and listen to that and look at that as example, life just, it gets better and better and better and better.
What I believe a parent really can give their children that's most beneficial is a model of that connected, I'm being guided by my inner knowing. And that might look like being really clear with your boundaries, that I'm the guide in this scenario. I have to keep us safe, saying, you know, sweetheart, I get you want to climb that tree, and I'm starting to feel wobbly, so I'm going to ask you to come down because I'm not sure if you're safe. What most of us do when we get dysregulated and when we feel that wobble is we go straight up to our head and we try to change something out there versus coming inside and doing the work to shift what's going on inside. And to me, the work that you guys are sharing is really speaking to the fact that the inner knowing, we've lost touch with that for many of us. And so you get these voices in your head that are other people's voices. And when you're upset or when you're frustrated or angry, we don't automatically go, oh, wow, I'm having a dysregulated moment. Look at me wobbling. I better steady myself. Compassion, compassion. We go out, right? We go out and blame. You're making me feel this way. Or we go in and start berating and feeling guilty or shameful or embarrassed or wrong. And I feel like if I can help parents return to themselves, they're going to relate to the growing people differently, and we're going to kind of unkink that kink that seems to have gotten in our way. That the growing people will be more connected to their emotions and use it to know themselves better, and over time be able to manage them exquisitely. And then as they get into teenhood and young adulthood, I just see a different quality of self-assurance and steadiness, where they don't look out there for who they are as much as they know who they are, or they're aware of wanting to know more of who they are, that they launch into adulthood far less concerned about out there and much more connected to in here.
Family stories are treasures to me. Photos and videos bring the past into the present so we can enjoy the past now.
Look, you almost made it.
One of the recordings I adore most is this footage, where I find my dad sharing the story of my birth with his students. He was an elementary art teacher.
He just kept looking at me, and I thought, I love this baby. And I was thinking, I really love this baby. And I kept looking at it, and I thought, this baby needs me. And it's the only person that ever needed me. It needs me to make sure it's safe. I don't want to let anything hurt this baby.
In 1996, when I was 16, my dad fell into a whirlpool in a river. His body never surfaced. 18 years later, we went back to look for him again. I pray that all known and unknown negative images, harmful beliefs, destructive cellular memories, and all physical issues related to the death of Terry Lindsay will be open, revealed, and healed by filling us with the life, light, and love of God. Great Spirit renews our lives mentally, physically, and emotionally.
The mountains like a cloud. You'll never know how much I love you. 'Cause if you did, then you would run away, seeking refuge in some darker day. For cries of hidden sorrow ricochet. Then a star fell on my head, and I thought that I was dead. So I lay down in my grave, and I learned how not to crave. You'll never know how much I love you. 'Cause if you
on September 20th. This is right before the equinox. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. So around 3 a.m., GB, the midwife, and Ulrika knocked softly on the front door. So I opened the door and felt a wave of relief to see these two trusted faces smiling at me, and I just set all my intention internally. Then I could sense the important women in my life all around me, protecting me, offering up their strength and wisdom to me, holding me in their loving gaze, reassuring me that I can do this. GB came to sit by me as the contractions took on this whole new level, and she told me to let the openness permeate every cell of your body. So I focused all my attention on this one contraction, holding that fiery sensation of the baby's head crowning below, while channeling all that energy down from above into my pelvis and into the ground. I planted my feet firmly on the ground and allowed it to just pour down into my body. And with one final contraction, his whole body came easily wriggling out into the air in the arms of his proud dada.
He's a boy.
Gabriel Ohana Lindsay was born at home.
Gabriel.
He carries the energy of gentle power, love, and family. He bonded our family together as a uniquely strong and loving unit of equals. He gave Kabirin and I a newfound sense of love and respect for each other. He did all of this before he was even born, and I'm so grateful I got to carry him inside of me, and now I get the supreme privilege to be his mother.
By the time our baby arrived, we felt like a new family, with a new sense of appreciation for each other and a new level of loving. We took on a few more interviews too, working to complete the story we started.
Brooks is my son, and his mom and I just split, so we're working on that. We're doing a week on, week off right now, and it's kind of hard for Brooks. Yeah, his behavior is still fine, but he's going through a weird sleep thing now, which is challenging. That's happening here, but not at his mom's house. Doesn't want to sleep by himself, doesn't want to be alone.
And we must stand up to our children when they're behaving in the world in a way that's unharmonious. Because I think to stand up to them is to show them that we'd stand up for them. And we create trust and safety in that. And so the boundary is there. I'll give you as much freedom as you show me you can handle. And then I pull back on that freedom depending on the behavior and the safety of that behavior. Mm-hmm. And, I take it to the edge, and it's a dance, There's no 2 days the same. So
it's not about these are the rules and this is what I...
It's moment to moment. This is what I feel he needs. He needs a safe boundary right now. He's feeling unsafe. He's acting out of control or not able to sense his immediate environment, And so bringing it in with a boundary, they mirror us so much. I mean, when we look, we want to know where we're at. We look to them. What's going on with them? That's how you know. At that age, he's 4.5. He's just simply here to, he's attuned, and now he's just projecting, and showing us who we are. All of it, the beauty and the ugly, the rage and the love.
Hey, what's it like to be parents of 4-year-olds?
Yeah, it's really fun.
So this is what life is like for the parents of 4-year-olds?
Saturday night it is.
I could see from the start that the stars had aligned. We took a short walk and shared a long kiss. There ain't nothing quite like making memories like this.
One of the best educations you can give your kids is to show them what you're doing and involve them in it. To us, and I'd love to hear your Rosalie, can you come here with Mama? Sit up here for a second. We're almost done.
Mama's laps are big enough for 2 or 3 babies.
We feel it's really vital, important for them to see that we are doing something we love, and for them to not say, oh, you can't come to this, you're excluded all the time. What are your thoughts about that? I see you all nodding and kind of resonating with you.
How has it been having a midwife for a mom through all the years?
It's cool to get to go to births with you, and I think it's cool that you're a midwife.
I did have a very, again, I don't know where these things come from, but I really had this strong idea that we needed to have animals for the kids to be around. And so that we could get food from them, and that they knew where food came from, and also just because they just create a lot of really great life lessons. Like, we've had a lot of animals pass over the years, and that's one of the reasons that I think she wanted to stop going to school, is because she was in this building all day long.
Is there chocolate on my face?
Nope.
Nope.
Good. Daniel was pushing on Ananda. Well, he was.
Okay.
All right, thanks for telling us.
But I stopped him. Yes, I
Thank
stopped
you. Can you just have everybody sit in different spots?
Yes.
And stay away from each other? Okay, cool. Thank you. Love you. Like, for me with like gratitude, it's like because parenting can be like really challenging, obviously, and you can do all this work on yourself, and you could think that you've gotten to a pretty like solid place in your life, and then you have kids, and I would imagine for most people, they kind of, trigger or, like irritate those wounds that maybe, you thought you had fixed, but they're not completely better or all gone. And
we all have so many old stories that have either just from millennium of people running on fear, or from our own upbringing or whatever, that tell us that like we must react a certain way to a certain situation, or that like something is not okay. But it's like, what if you just decide to like throw all that stuff out and just like rewrite the stories?
I feel very excited for like our children and the other children who are who they are.
Wilding.
We are wilding.
We are wilding. We are, and we don't want to be afraid of it. It's not going to take us over. Not in that way. We're not going to grow fangs, and I think a lot of us are trained to look for what's wrong. We're really good at diagnosing what's wrong with the colors in a room, with the garden, with this, with that, with myself, with we're good at that. And so we perfect that in a certain way. And we're used to thinking we're just plain not enough. and we really need to improve. So how do you let go of believing you're not enough? I don't know. Everybody's got their own unique journey with that, but that's got to happen before you can surrender to the moment. But when I get real, when I say, okay, this is the only moment there's ever been right now. It always feels the same. This is the only moment there ever will be. All the aliveness of life itself is right here, right now.
We moved out into the teepee right before our wedding to be able to, be outside and connect with the space and transform it to be able to host the gathering that was then our wedding.
So you're talking about a real teepee, not a metaphorical teepee.
Yeah, real teepee.
Yellow pine poles and canvas walls. That's when we took on this concept of ohana. Whatever family wants to come, ohana. And to me, home is not a place, it's people.
We made this film and it saved our family because we had all these questions and we did not know what we were doing. We learned on the way, we found the guidance when we needed it. It came to us. We learned that we could tap in and we had a certain inner source of guidance. We wouldn't be together if we hadn't made this film. It gave us a purpose and it let us bring our passion into something big and wonderful and tapped into something special. We interviewed urban living, rural living, rustic living, refined living. Everyone has different ways of showing love and sharing love and different ways of allowing love and different ways of building up love and letting it grow and planting seeds for love. And the greatest way that I know to experience love is with family. We learned through the stories of 40 families what it means to be present, to be passionate, to be home, to be enough, to be alive, to be loved, and to love. Our family of 5 moved to a ranch with the idea of immersing ourselves in our surroundings, getting to know our nature. We expanded as a family by joining a community. We shared our discoveries, reaching parents with our message of love and lightness. We recognize now that our story is a message for all parents. And this message is a gift to all children, including our own.